Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Diana. This is going to be a different video from what I typically do, but I am a die-hard Stranger Things fan, and your girl has cracked the code. I am 99% certain how this series is going to end. I'm wearing a hat right now because I wanted to look decent because I am sleepy. I decided to watch season 5 again because there's a lot of things that I missed. And I'm going to explain to you why. I'm not going to do any edits, any cuts or anything. We're just going to dive right in and we're just going to talk straight. Before season 5 dropped, the producers and the cast were dropping all these hints. I was pumped up. So once the episodes dropped, I was expecting drama. I was expecting explosions. I was expecting people dying. I was just expecting more than what I got. So even though I think overall the 2 volumes were really good, I don't think I really gave it a chance because my mindset went in with like, someone's going to die, something's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Like it's all going to be like one after the other. And that's not how it happened. So I watched it for a second time and I'm so glad I did. I still need 2 more episodes to go to, but I've been watching it all day, okay? And I've also been trying to cook and clean and feed everybody up in the house. I saved all my pictures and videos onto a separate folder, but for some reason my iPhone saved them out of order. So we're going to try to go in order as best as possible, okay? So give me a break. Be nice to me. If you agree with me or disagree with me, it's all fine. Let's have a discussion. Who's ready to, this is my favorite show of all time. I've never been so into another show like I have been with Stranger Things. Okay, so let's deep dive. If you guys have been watching my channel, you all know that I'm a costume designer and I've been working in the film industry for the last 10 years, okay? So just a few things, few elements that I focused on my second rewatch is that I really sat down and I really focused on these elements, okay? And this is also what I want you all to also focus on in the future for future content that you guys watch. You got to focus on the costuming. Focus on the art design and the art, the props, and the set design. Also, of course, everything else, but to me, those are the things that stand out the most. And those are also key elements that will also lead you to give you some clues as to how the story's going to go, how it's going to end, things like that. Okay, so as I was watching the episodes, I was taking pictures and video of what I think is evidence on how the show is going to end. So we're just gonna go into my folder. Again, I apologize that it's out of order, but I'm gonna do the best I can, and I hope that I hope we create a dialogue. Because what I'm gonna say, I haven't heard really a lot of people saying it, so I might be the first. Or maybe I just haven't watched enough videos yet. I'm sure you all remember this drawing. This is the drawing that Will gave to Mike in season 4. This is the 3-headed dragon. This is the core 4 fighting the dragon. Now remember the dragon. I need you all to remember the dragon. Let's watch this video.
She's a cleric, which means she has divine powers. She can cast spells of protection to ward against evil spirits, and even cooler, she can cast a dimension door, which can teleport you to anywhere you visualize.
What did he tell her? She's Holly the Heroic. She can travel through time and space anywhere she wants to. Now, a lot of people have been complaining about Holly. Why is she such a vital character so late in the season? Well, I don't know why. But what I do know is that in season 1, we know that Holly had some sort of connection to the Upside Down, because if you all remember, she was inside the bedroom at Will's house and she saw the lights flickering. She also saw the Demogorgon like hand coming out of the wall. So she's always known that there's something there. We just didn't know what it was because it never really got discussed about or developed until now. And remember I said that I was paying attention to the costuming? Robin's wearing a shirt that says, "Beam me up. This place sucks." There's 4 people here, and I don't know if my camera catches it. Oh yeah, right here. You can see there's a woman right there. I don't know if 4 people here represent some of the characters, and maybe this is Robin because she has short hair. And then it says, "This place sucks." Well, what place sucks? The Upside Down sucks, right? Hawkins sucks because it's been taken over by the Mind Flayer, Vecna, the military. So beam me up. Yeah, let's get the F out of here. Next.
You mean after you totally demolish Vecna? In my campaigns, if the party wins, then they all live happily ever after.
Happily how?
Well, usually what happens is the party doesn't return to their local village because too much has happened. They've seen too much, so they travel to a faraway land, a peaceful land, somewhere beautiful, with like 3 waterfalls or something, and they all start again. Together.
Do you think that could be real? For us?
Yeah, of course. I mean, not the 3 waterfalls part, but the other stuff, yeah, of course. If Vecna's gone, then what's stopping us?
Okay. He mentions a different place where they can all start over, okay? And he mentions 3 waterfalls. Now, my first thought was, oh, could that be like some sort of hidden meaning because of the 3-headed dragon? Or could it be a different meaning? And let me show you. Jonathan is wearing a t-shirt that says, "The Fall." And from my perspective, or from my own opinion, the fall, and then this the fall means that, I don't want to say it just yet, but let's just deep dive. Who cares? The fall, my prediction is that everyone except for Elle and Mike are going to die. And this is the fall, but then this is water. So this is kind of like a t-shirt representing Elle's and Mike's new life with the 3 falls. The fall was the fight that they had against the monsters, and they all fell. So let's continue. So this video is Will tapping into the Demogorgon mind. Here clearly, in this part, he didn't need to be close to the hive mind to tap into their mind. So, which tells me that he's able to tap into his powers internally. He doesn't need to be close to the hive mind, because if you all remember, if you've seen all the videos, if you're watching this video, that's because you've seen all 7 episodes thus far. And we all know Will came out already. We've been knowing since season 1, but it was vital to the storyline because that was still a part of him that he wasn't accepting himself in his true form, and he needed to verbalize it, to communicate it to the crew in order to defeat Vecna, because Vecna was going to use his weaknesses. And his weaknesses were that he wasn't being true to himself by being in his true form and accepting himself how he is. That's why he had to tell everybody, hey, I don't like girls the way you guys do. So now this is telling me that His powers are innate, they're natural, and he was born with them. He does not need to tap into the hive mind. And this is a picture I took of Holly's room. If you guys noticed, there was a lot of Rainbow Bright merchandise in there. So a lot of rainbows. And there was a light bright right here with a rainbow. There's a lot of rainbows with these kids. And if you remember, back at the Hawkins lab, the kids that were being experimented on, there was rainbows in their room. And there was one episode specifically where Henry and Elle are fighting. And if you guys notice, there's a rainbow behind Henry, but it's upside down. And the rainbow that is next to Elle is facing her. So what does that tell me? So then I looked it up and I saw that somebody had actually discussed it on Reddit. And we know like rainbows come after the rain. And it also signifies innocence and purity. And I think like with the kids, they probably added the rainbows to make them feel that they didn't have to be in a place that was feared. You can actually be, you know, like everything was going to be okay. That's why they put the rainbows there. But actually, rainbows, from Henry's mind, they represent structure. They represent society. And we all know, based on his conversation he had with Elle in season 4, is that he hates society. He hates the structure. He hates all these rules and regulations that we have, and he's against that. And so I do think that Holly, even though everybody's complaining about her right now, she is extremely vital to the storyline because she's going to be the key that helps defeat the monsters in the last episode. Her rainbows represent her purity, her innocence, and her creativity, and it's going to ultimately represent her heroism. Okay, so let's continue.
Maybe you're like a receiver. You know, like a radio receiver, just a magical human version.
I don't follow.
Okay.
I love Robin.
Imagine that you have an antenna coming up from the top of your head. And Vecna, he uses the mind flare particles like radio waves. And so when the antenna is close enough to the radio waves, the signal comes through clear as day. But if you're too far away...
Static. So maybe that's how we do it. That's how we find Holly.
With your antenna?
Okay. I really hope that you guys all watched the trailer for the last episode. In the trailer, it's showing how the kids are in the tower because, okay, let me back up just a tad. So we all know what the plan is, right? My phone just dropped. Upside down, wormhole, and then Abyss and Dimension X is on the top. Vecna and the monsters are all up here. So in the trailer for the last episode, oh wait, hold on. I forgot to mention that one part. I'm so tired. Okay, so Dustin is explaining to the team what they're going to do, and then Steve chimes in and has a plan. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to wait. Since Vecna is trying to merge both worlds together, they're going to wait until his world gets close enough to their world where they can strike, okay? So as Robin is explaining to Joyce and Will about him having an antenna and how he has to stay close, well, what did we see in the trailer? They're up on the tower with an antenna. We don't see Will in the trailer, but I'm sure, I mean, he's probably going to be somewhere around there, whether he's down on the ground, about to climb the stairs, I don't know. But originally, I thought he was going to go up to fight because in one of the episodes he says he is going to go up. But now, no, he's not. He's going to stay down there with a crew while Elle goes up and fights the monsters. Let me get my phone.
Maybe you're like a...
Okay, let's continue.
This is Dungeon Master to Scout Battalion. Do you copy? Over. Great Scott! How long has that light been red? Oh, I don't know. Shit. The flux capacitor is down again. Is that bad? I mean, it could be. This is Dungeon Master to Scout Battalion.
I think I cracked the code on how it's gonna end. All I had to do was just really zen out and pay attention. Okay, look. For those of you who watched Back to the Future, Marty and Scott used a flux capacitor to time travel. This scene is a reference to them time traveling. They are going to time travel in the new episode. Okay? Let's continue. What are those sounds? We've never heard those sounds before. Now hold on, I'm going to show you another video with similar sounds that we have yet to hear.
Wait. Sasha. I think I got something.
Seriously? Is it hot?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting a hit on the decoder, but I can hear something. Yeah, I can definitely hear something.
Is that him?
Joe. Yeah, we're not.
It's sounds that they haven't heard before. And you know what those sounds are? It's the dragon. I'm pretty sure the producers somewhere in some interview, or maybe this was a rumor, somebody had said that we're going to get new monsters. What monster haven't we not seen? We haven't seen the dragon. And the dragon figurine has shown itself throughout the seasons. Now, remember how I said time travel? Derek's building a Tesseract. Hold on, be right back. Hey, sorry, my camera died. I had it at 90%, but this is the third time that I've been trying to record this video, so the first time I recorded it was 40 minutes, so I'm trying not to do it at 40 minutes. So that way I can actually have some viewers watch my video. So let's get back to where I left off. I left off talking about the Tesseract. Derek is building a Tesseract. We all know what this is, right? They're going to time travel. Let me show you something else that's connected. Here's a diagram that Dustin drew on, I believe, it was a map, when he's with Nancy, Jonathan, and Steve, and he's explaining to them the sounds that he heard. And do you see how he drew this? You see the lines? Okay, keep that in mind, okay? And now, in the next photo, do you remember when Max was remembering her memories? And she was in the classroom. She was in the classroom taking a math test. My phone's trying to make the hand a sticker. Okay. Come on, you guys. Do you see this? Do you see this and this? And this? And this? They're going to time travel, okay? They're time traveling in the last episode. Now let's move on. Remember I told you to pay attention to the set design? What is that? That's a rocket. Why is there a rocket there? Do you remember when Will was having his memories right before he became the sorcerer? And there was a memory he had of a drawing that he gave to his mom? Well, here's that drawing. It's a rocket. Why is there a rocket? Now, my first thought was, So I don't remember how my first video went, but this is how the show is going to end, okay? I think I cracked it. So we all know what the plan is, and the team is going to wait for Dimension X to be as close as possible to them before they strike. Once it gets close, that's when they're going to strike. But this is the way they're going to strike. Will is going to stay behind because he has to stay close to the antenna. Remember, he has to stay close to the connection. Holly is still in Dimension X. She's trying to figure out her stuff. Eventually, she's going to have that heroism come out of her. And once that does, is when she's going to help Elle. Elle is going to learn, she's going to tap into that power that we haven't seen her do, is she's going to learn to fly. They're going to build some sort of time travel machine. I think it's going to resemble what a Tesseract is. She's going to fly through the Tesseract all the way up until Dimension X. But down below, she's going to notice everyone is freaking dying. And when I mean everyone, I think the only people who are going to survive is going to be Mike and Elle. Okay? And then she's going to be like, oh, damn, everyone's dying. But Holly's still up in Dimension X, okay? Because she can't be in the upside down trying to help because she's still stuck up there. And she needs to be heroic, and that's going to be her arc. And so she's going to see everybody's dying. Elle's going to time travel into a time when none of this happened and everyone's just going to go and live a normal life. But the thing is that nobody's going to remember anybody. Potentially nobody were friends. Friendships were never formed. Maybe they go back to just being the core four, just like in the beginning, but obviously now they're adults, not kids. And I think Elle and Mike are going to go off and live somewhere else, start a new life, always remember what happened, but they're the ones that are going to keep the memory because they're the ones that ultimately survived. And they're going to live near a waterfall. Hence Jonathan's shirt that said the fall, that appears to be water on his shirt. That's how I think it's going to end. Callie's going to be a traitor. I think she's on Vecna's side. She's going to try to sacrifice Elle. But Elle's going to realize, oh, no. And then Will's going to chime in too. And he's going to help Elle against Callie. They're going to end her. I do believe that the dragon's going to come up too. I don't know if it's going to be a 3-headed dragon or a 2-headed dragon. But in the trailer for the new episode, we see a head coming out of the sky. And we don't know if that is the Mind Flayer. Looks like the Mind Flayer, but could also be the dragon. And that's when I think that the core four are going to realize that they all four have powers. But again, they have to believe in themselves because they all, I think, have innate powers, which means it comes from within. They were born with it. I also think that Will is going to have like a Luke Skywalker moment where he finally taps into the Force, meaning his powers, and he's just going to give us like this epic like battle where we're going to be like, whoa, he like really is the sorcerer. Wow. Like his powers are going to be out of this world. We don't know if he's going to be as powerful as Elle, maybe even more, or they match up. We don't know, but it's going to be something we haven't seen before from him. And yeah, I mean, I think they're all going to take the form of, based on Will's drawing. I think that's how it's going to go down. They're all going to die, but they all come back to life because Elle she time travels and brings them all back to life. But at a time, during a time where some of them were never friends and they just go back to living what their life would have been like if none of this ever happened. And the only ones left with the memory would be Elle and Mike. I don't know if I'm partly right or partly wrong, but I do think I'm right on the money here. So let's just continue because I do have a few things left to talk about. Oh, and the rocket, I think the rocket signifies Elle, because we know what a rocket does, right? It just shoots up into space. Well, that's what Elle's gonna do. She's gonna fly right into space, but she's gonna fly into Dimension X. I mean, that's my theory. I don't know if I talked about this, but two-headed dragon, just like in this image, we see two heads. I originally thought it was the Mind Flayer, but I think it resembles more of the dragon, and that's how we hear those sounds that they haven't heard before, and they're asking like, oh, what is that? That's because it's a monster we haven't seen and we haven't heard before. And I believe this is Elle's first time flying. I don't know why no one's talking about this. What I'm saying. And so I really hate how they made the Stranger Things play. I mean, were we all supposed to watch it in order to understand the finale? Like, I didn't even pay much attention to it because I was like, oh, it's just a play. Like, I love watching plays, but I thought it wasn't, I didn't know that it, like, you would have had to watch the play in order to understand some of these episodes. But the way these episodes are appearing, it almost seems like we had to have watched the freaking play. Like, thanks. You know, sorry I didn't go watch the play, Duffer Brothers. But then you have like these things that pop up. Like Pam. I guess according to the play, Henry dates Pam. I don't really know the story behind that, but like, there's Pam's clothing store when they're fighting. Here when he gains his powers, becomes a sorcerer. Again, innate powers. He's going to have a Luke Skywalker moment. I bet you anything. Oh, and in Holly's room, there's a bunch of flowers on the wall. Let me just say this one time too, because I forgot to say it. She has love on the wall, okay? And what is a reoccurring theme? That it's all about love. Love is what gives you strength. Love is the greatest emotion on planet Earth. And I think that love is going to drive, you know, everybody to fight this war that we have against these monsters. And Elle and everybody else just has to remember that it's love. And, okay, so the flowers, right? And one of the little girls who got kidnapped is wearing a floral long sleeve, which resembles her wallpaper, which I thought was really interesting. Thought it was very a creative connection to, you know, the 12 kids that get kidnapped. And I was wondering, like, why would 12 kids get kidnapped? Why the number 12? Well, we know that the clock, the grandfather clock, is a theme, and the ticking, the, you know, that creepy sound they like to play when the grandfather clock, like, time's up. The clock strikes at midnight. 12 kids. What's gonna strike at midnight? You know? So that's what I'm, you know, thinking something is gonna go down. Maybe that's when all the destruction starts happening. I'm not sure what the fate of the kids are gonna be. I haven't really thought much about them. But I'm hoping that they get saved. But I do think everyone's gonna die though, probably including them too. But they all come back to life. They just don't remember. And also another thing that I noticed, do you guys remember there was 2 scorpions on the rock when Max and Holly were walking through the woods? I can't really tell in this scene, but when Callie and Elle are in the upside down, and I think they're inside a church, Callie's face is towards like this, and she has a tattoo right here. She's got another tattoo here, but I can't really tell what's here. But the one on her ear, tell me if that does not resemble a scorpion. Okay? This bitch is the scorpion. This bitch is gonna be the traitor. I hope Elle finds out before it's too damn late. Because this girl is going to try to sacrifice our girl, and that is not going to happen. Okay, so that's all I have for you right now. I still got 2 more episodes to go. I'm going to upload this video regardless. Oh, and I don't think I discussed, hold on. I don't think I discussed this video too. I discussed this one, the kryptonite. We all know Callie's the goddamn kryptonite, okay?
Behind the door.
And I just want to mention this. This is kind of like the same idea with the rainbows. Alice in Wonderland. There's another poster in Holly's room at Henry Crewell's house. This says Alice in Wonderland. When I saw Holly come out in that really cute dress with the cape, I instantly thought Alice in Wonderland. And what do we know about Alice in Wonderland? Well, they don't want to grow up. They want to stay kids. And kind of like the whole rainbow, the rainbow's backwards because you're against the structure, you're against the rules, you're against the regulations, you don't like that type of lifestyle, and you want to rebel. So, it sounds like he's got Peter Pan syndrome, doesn't it? Just doesn't want to grow up. So, like I said, I got 2 more episodes to watch. I'm still going to upload this video right now. I'm not going to edit it. It's just going to be uploaded. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to watch the last 2 episodes. And then I'll do a recap of the finale and see if any of what I'm saying ends up being true. But like I said, it's going to go down. There's going to be some time travel tomorrow. Elle's going to save the day. Holly's going to save the day. The survivors are going to be Elle and Mike, with the only ones that have a memory of what happened. I do believe most of the cast members are going to die. Have some tissue ready for when you watch it. I'm gonna be a mess after. But we all have to remember at the end of the day that this show hopefully gave you inspiration and strength in your own life, kind of like, you know, these characters who went through these trials and tribulations. And I think I feel like I related the most to Nancy Wheeler, because everyone sees me as this like goody two shoes, but deep down inside I could be a badass too, you know. And she turned out to be a badass chick, so I'm rooting for her. I hope she makes it, but we'll find out tomorrow. We are a few hours away, and it's 1:26 a.m. Thank you for watching. I can't wait to watch Stranger Things tomorrow. Bye. Have a good night.